it's hubris. It's imperial hubris to assume that you can just like get away with being this violent, try to do a panicked ground invasion. But when you see fucking black smoke coming out of central Tel Aviv, it's a pretty good indication that you haven't deteriorated the Iranian strike capabilities.
In Iran, and it has been more than 24 hours he went down, but yet at the same time, as we heard from General Piker, it may be to our advantage the fact that this pilot was able to hide somewhere with his SEER training and our teams.
Yeah, Trump cares about the pilot, dude. That's why he sent that's why he sent the pilots to die for Israel. It's like, it's famously a thing you do when you really care about your soldiers. What if the pilot just defected? Yeah, I doubt it.
The CSAR teams are the best of the best. I am holding out hope and optimism they're going to get them, and there is no doubt the president's commitment to do everything in our power.
Yeah, so many people praying at this moment for his rescue.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Urgent search.
I mean, it's a little bit terrifying to me that we're not even making a fucking argument. Like, there's no Gulf of Tonkin incident, you know? We just kind of went, fuck it, we ball. Like, it's even worse than that. It wasn't even like, oh, these guys are our enemies, like, we have to fight them. We literally were just like, we're doing this because Israel. That's actually doubly unbelievable. We just straight up, we're like, hey, man, we're really doing this because we love Israel after 3 years of Israel doing a live streamed Holocaust. We decided this is the best possible opportunity for Israel to get its final nut, you know, just destroy this country with 93 million people in it. Who gives a fuck what happens to those people, right? Unbelievable. And now obviously there's like tremendous retaliation. There's tremendous retaliation that America's not used to at all. And we've kind of been eating dick left and right for the last 35 days. And even then, like, we're getting taunted. We're getting humiliated. We have a shit ton of casualties. We're trying to hide it to the best of our ability. And yet, most Americans are just like, what are you going to do?
Rescue operation underway for the U.S. airman who was on board that American fighter jet shot down over central Iran, now missing for more than 24 hours. It's the first time Iran has successfully downed a manned American aircraft in this war, as it now enters its 6th week. U.S. officials say there had been 2 crew members on that F-15, one of them rescued Friday, ejected and now out of Iran, but the fate of the other still unknown. Images released by Iranian state media show pieces of the jet strewn across the ground, ripped to shreds. The images could not be independently verified by ABC News. A second American warplane also hit the same day, Iran shooting down an A-10 Warthog attack jet, the pilot making it to Kuwait, where the aircraft crashed after they safely ejected. That pilot was then rescued. But the search to find the missing crew member proving to be a dangerous mission for American troops. Iran targeting rescue efforts. 2 Black Hawk helicopters struck, injuring some of the crew members on board, but U.S. officials say they safely made it back to their base. In Iran, a news broadcaster announcing the crash of the F-15, telling Iranians they would be rewarded for capturing the crew members alive and turning them over to the regime. Shortly after, state TV airing this video of locals scouring through the terrain, seemingly looking for the airmen.
Yeah, no, they were looking to welcome him as liberators. They were looking to thank him for blowing up the, for being a part of the invading army that's doing an aerial bombing campaign that blew up a bridge, blew up the Pasteur Institute where they developed new medicines. And blow up the school that little schoolgirls were at, blow up the volleyball court, cultural artifacts that are thousands of years old. That's what they were doing. They were trying to welcome. They were like, hey, this is the welcome brigade. We welcome to liberating us. Thank you.
Posted on social media out of Iran, where the regime enforces a strict censorship, this video appearing to show locals shooting at American helicopters involved in the rescue efforts. A person can be heard saying, "And here's the armed forces," and "Shoot, shoot, bravo, shoot." The series of American aircraft struck in such a short time span, now raising questions about Iran's military capabilities. Just this week, President Trump had claimed in a primetime speech that the regime no longer had the capability to shoot down U.S. aircraft.
They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force.
Meanwhile, the US and Israel escalating attacks on key Iranian infrastructure. Civilian sites hit too. Iran saying a 100-year-old medical research center and a prominent university in Tehran were both hit by US-Israeli airstrikes. Video showing flames still burning inside the university. The Iranian death toll now at 3,519, according to a US-based human rights agency. Meanwhile, Iranian forces striking a desalinization plant and oil refinery in Kuwait, and satellite images showing widespread damage to bases hosting US troops in the area. The Pentagon now reporting 365 US troops have been wounded and 13 service members killed in action, 7 soldiers and 6 airmen.
And Iran this morning saying the area near one of its nuclear facilities was struck in a US and Israeli attack, killing a security guard and damaging a support building. No increase in radiation levels reported, though. And as for that missing American airman, the search continues. Iranian media urging its citizens to find them alive. Rhiannon.
Yeah, thank you for that update, Bert Clennett.
Well, meanwhile, the search. It's not 13, it's definitely higher.
For a missing U.S. airman in Iran continues. That's after Tehran says it downed 2 U.S. fighter jets on Friday, one near the Strait of Hormuz. 2 of the 3 crew have been rescued. Iran's military command says it used new defense systems to shoot down the planes and that it'll achieve full control over its airspace.
Why doesn't Trump just stop the war? Great question. I think it's because it's too spectacular a fuck up. And he feels like he got into this and now he needs to try and fight his way out of it. There are obviously competing forces, both with the external influence and both inside of Trump's mind. On the one hand, he's got the sunk cost fallacy. In his mind, he's like, well, we got into it. We got to get out of it, right? On the other hand, he also is definitely, and I will say this, he is definitely resistant to being remembered as the guy who invaded militarily this massive country. He is resistant to military invasions, like boots on the ground invasions. He likes swift aerial bombardment campaigns and maybe like a kidnapping or something like he did with Venezuela. Or even with Qasem Soleimani. Like, he will escalate. He will do crazy things, unpredictable things. But he's not, so far at least, he's shown that he's resistant to, permanent military occupation and invasion, right? The problem here, of course, is there's no other way to escalate. There's no other way to escalate in a way that, like, causes Iran to stop controlling the Strait of Hormuz or stop bombing Israel with an aerial bombardment campaign. You have to invade, right? Or you have to de-escalate. Problem is, if he actually de-escalates here, then he will have taken a fat L. He will have shown the rest of the world that America actually bit off a little bit more than they can chew. And as long as someone is actually directly militarily contesting American dominance, they might actually achieve a lot of results. Because Iran has been able to effectively undermine 40 years of sanctions and develop new revenue sources while they are being bombarded, right? They are now officially open for business, right? They're trading on Chinese yuan. They're collecting a toll from the tankers that they allow safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz. They effectively control the Strait of Hormuz, a choke point, very important choke point. They're able to strike at profit centers in the region that is within their reach, greatly disrupting the interests of profit seekers and international capital. This has been a very important lesson for a lot of people who are paying close attention to what's going on here, which is that For the longest time, countries, I think, believed that America was infinitely more powerful than it actually is, that the empire had not spread itself too thin, that it had tremendous capabilities of defending all of its allies, that have military bases. That is wrong. That's just gone. That idea is gone. I hope everyone in here understand that the rest of the world now recognizes that having an American military base does not mean you get security. It means you are you're actually insecure, right? You become a threat to other countries that are outside of the American security umbrella. U.S. military bases mean you are a target. U.S. military bases mean you can become a missile sponge at a moment's notice. If America decides to behave in this unpredictable manner, they're not going to ask you before they bomb your regional neighbor, right? And then in retaliation, you become a target. American bases are now not seen as safety and security, stability in the region. American actions prove a lot of instability, yield a lot of instability, and American bases create liability. Okay? Would a ground invasion stop Iran from closing the strait? No. I don't think so. No. Not even a little bit. Whereas America is about to turn 250 this year, Iran has a rich history of almost 3 millennia. Do you think it is beyond Trump to target cultural sites in Iran? I can imagine him striking some important mosque over a millennia old with the excuse that they are harboring terrorists there. Yes, I can totally see them doing that. I can totally see them doing that. I mean, it's Israel shit. Like we are sister nations, okay? Spiritually the same. America is Israel and Israel is America. I can totally see America doing that shit.
We had previously announced that we would demonstrate our capabilities in the field. Let the enemy know that with the new air defense systems, built by the knowledge and proud youth of this country and unveiled one after another in the field of action, we will surely achieve complete control of our country's skies, and we will prove to the world more than ever before the humiliation of the wretched enemy.
I think it would be good if Iran captured this American airman.
Because?
To use him as a bargaining chip to stop this madness, stop this. Trump has lost the plot, and it's just out of control. I mean, this war now is not about Iran or the Iranians. It's about American interests, other interests. It's not about the Iranian people or Iran.
But I didn't think I'd take a call from anyone saying, I hope the Iranians catch the airman and use him as a chip. But you think that would be an indirect way to...
When they lose one of their men in action, crashes, they will do what they send in a whole team to rescue. They send in helicopters.
They're already doing it. They've done it. They're doing it.
They do to recover it. So it's a big issue for America and American people. So unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I don't really hope it.
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be mistreated by Iran as well.
A missing US officer somewhere in enemy territory. Footage appears to show armed Iranians hunting for them, keen to claim the reported £50,000 bounty on their head. The wreckage of their fighter jet paraded on Iranian state television. A propaganda coup for Tehran and a difficult reminder for those like squadron leader John Peters, who was shot down and captured in Iraq.
You don't have the capacity to be scared because your brain is so full of what you've got to do next, trying to outwit, because part of that chess game, not at a political level, but you've got to outthink the Iranian commanders. You've got to outthink everyone around, and you no longer have the system around you. You are plucked and you are totally on your own.
The missing service person's president posted on social media today, "Remember when I gave Iran 10 days to make a deal or open up the Hormuz Strait? Time is running out," says President Trump. 48 hours before all hell will rain down on them. Glory be to God. It's just days since Trump claimed Iran was beaten. Following false claims by the US president about the complete destruction.
He's going to nuke something before he dies. He wants to be remembered. Oh, buddy, he will be remembered. He will be cherished as a great hero, depending on how things go. just not by Americans, I think. He is the great nation builder for China. Okay. Donald Trump is the great nation builder for China. JD Pandon is real. Okay. He will be remembered for this.
May Allah awaken the people and help them to see the evil doings of Israel and the United States.
Like, he's literally doing that. He is doing that. He's playing a major role in helping Allah awaken the people to the evil doings of the United States and Israel.
Of Iran's air defense system, says this IRGC spokesperson. An American hostile fighter jet was shot down in central Iranian airspace by a newly developed advanced aerospace defense system. The jet was completely destroyed, and further search operations are still ongoing. Those ongoing operations are now a race between the US and Iran, the latter claiming to have shot down a second US plane which crashed in the Persian Gulf, a rescue mission whose crew then themselves had to be rescued. US Black Hawks have come under sustained gunfire, all aircraft on high alert as they hunt for their missing comrade. Olivia Guthrie, ITV News.
I mean, this could not have happened at a more consequential time, right? Like,
retired general.
Tremendous economic pressures in the imperial core, a looming energy crisis all around the globe, accelerated by America's actions. 3 years of American-backed maximum Israeli genocide that was live-streamed that greatly changed the Western world's attitudes towards America and Israel as well. The American president being so vulgar with his imperial ambitions and even at times redirecting that imperialist rhetoric towards Western white allies that are a part of NATO. All of this stuff combined has created this powder keg. I don't know how we got here. I genuinely don't understand it. In many ways, I do think that if I was a liberal, if I was like an ideologically minded liberal who was obviously invested in the maintenance of American empire, I'd be fucking losing my mind. I'd be like, dude, we had a good thing for like 100 years. What are you doing? Like, we're not even gonna meet the 100-year marker of like liberal hegemony around the globe. Like, you fucked it up. It's crazy. Don't worry, Trump said war will end in 48 hours. Oh yeah, no, totally. Because look, I think it's utterly evil, the maintenance of empire. I think it's an evil endeavor, okay? And I think it's not good for anybody involved except for, global capital, international capital. That much is clear, right? Having said that, you have to give credit to the liberals, at least, like the ones that were greatly invested in at least like propagandizing at the behest of American empire to make it seem to their own, domestic audiences that it's like a objectively good thing and it's a necessity, both out of national security concerns, because all these other, enemies are enemies of democracy, enemies of prosperity, right? Like, they did a much better job of like maintaining the proper reasoning structure for why America has to be the world police, why the Western world has to liberalize places, has to democratize the rest of the world, right? They were infinitely more successful. They were so successful that when you think about like the neocon movement, right? The reactionary George W. Bush and Dick Cheney led Republican Party and what they ended up doing in the failure of the global war on terror, their justifications for it were still objectively liberal, right? That's what it means when I say liberalism is hegemonic. They were still talking about nation building, democratizing Iraq, right? Liberalizing, offering social freedoms to these people. Like, they were still presenting an argument. They still created within the confines of our own international human rights architecture, that we designed to benefit ourselves, of course, that we violate with regular frequency, we still created a reasoning, right? We lied about it. We said WMDs. It was bullshit. But at least we still lied about it. There was a reason for why we lied about it. And it's very interesting that like Trump and this new version of hard power only, no soft power approach has forgotten why liberals, regardless of how right-wing they are, or, you know, Democrat Party liberals, the war hawks in each individual party were doing this marketing, right? It's hubris. It's imperial hubris to assume that you can just like get away with being this violent and this naked with your ambitions. The idea that people won't hear that and go, what the fuck? I thought we were the good guys. You kind of sound like a bad guy. I don't like it. Especially at a time when there's unprecedented economic shocks that like people are ordinary people are facing, the working class is facing after decades of austerity, for example. So it's very strange that this illiberal move from the reactionary MAGA movement, this fascist movement, this new iteration of fascism has dropped liberalism completely, thinking that it was dead weight, not realizing that actually it was far more successful than how these guys can achieve their goals. It was far more successful in maintaining empire. Liberalism is far more successful in maintaining empire than fascism is.
And former national security official Douglas Lute. General Lute, thank you so much for being here. As we just reported, 2 American warplanes were hit by Iran in separate attacks, and then 2 Black Hawk helicopters involved in that rescue mission, they were struck as well. The president had said that Iran is no longer capable of shooting down American aircraft. So what does this tell you?
Well, the president was talking in military terms about our having achieved air superiority. And what that means basically is that most of the enemy's air defenses have been eroded, degraded, and that there's largely freedom of action in the air. And I think that's accurate. The problem here is that air superiority is not perfect. And we've obviously...
That's interesting because it kind of feels like that's not the case. Like saying that while there's B-roll playing of a search and rescue mission flying over Iranian airspace that's being contested with like conventional arms, small arms fire, while the reason for why there's a search and rescue operation happening on Iranian airspace is literally because Iran was able to successfully take out an F-15. Kind of cuts away at the point that you're trying to make. You know, if your argument is that we established air superiority and you're brought on to Good Morning America to talk about how an F-15 fighter jet just fell on Iranian soil, well, the argument has been made for you. We did not establish air superiority, right? Like, that's not how this works. We have achieved air ambiguity. Yeah, that's a good one. That's what it is. Oh, it's not perfect. You see, what I like to call what we achieved in Iran is not air superiority. It's not air ambiguity. I don't even know what it would be. It's just like an aerial dominance at certain times and not so dominant at others.
We've seen a classic example of that today. So Iran retains enough air capacity, air defense capacity to challenge American aircraft. And obviously we've seen the results.
General, let's go ahead and talk about this.
That's also funny because like this is the same maximalist cope position that you hear from like plane autists in the NATO side, the Western chauvinist, like pro-America, hoorah, OSINT guys who will be like, actually, it's not that significant that an F-35 had to do a crash landing. You're stupid. Like, because it was contested successfully by a country that we have economically dominated for 50 fucking years, right? And the indigenous air defense systems that they've developed that we claimed we had thoroughly destroyed. This is the same old bullshit, right? It's pure cope where you're like, oh, well, you know, we developed our superiority, but like our F-15 fell and another A-10 fell in the process too, in defense of the search and rescue operation. But, you know, it happens. It happens. It's not that significant. You know, planes fall all the time, dude.
process of the urgent search. Iran, we know, is also trying to find the missing American themselves. What will the U.S. do now? Because that's a very dangerous situation for the missing service member.
Well, it is. And as hours pass by, it becomes even more perilous. Look, the immediate priority for American forces is to isolate this area so that prohibits Iranian forces, reinforcements from coming in and lending to the search. And while the area is isolated, these rather slow-moving and therefore vulnerable search and rescue aircraft, like the helicopters that your earlier report mentioned, will focus on that area and try to identify the precise location of the downed pilot. Now, the pilot has identifying GPS, beacon systems, and radio systems, and so forth. So if the pilot's able, he or she will be signaling the search and rescue aircraft and hopefully lead to a recovery.
All right, General Douglas Lute, thank you so much for joining us here on GMA on this important story. We appreciate it.
Iranian officials placing a...
I read the A-10 is the everyone favorite until you know how slow it is. I mean, the significant part about the A-10 is that, like, yeah, it's slow, but it's supposed to be this, like, somewhat impenetrable air tank, right? It's just a flying cannon. Like, it's not supposed to be taken out like as easily, I guess. Not really. I mean it literally does. It first of all, it obviously can only operate when there's not enough when there's no when there's no air defenses, right? Nah, it's dog shit designed around a cannon. Everyone knew it's dog shit. Here comes the military nerds. Tank busting doesn't mean it's tanky. No, but like, HasanAbi, no matter what, it serves the purpose of flying low and like directly shooting at things that the pilot can fucking see. Okay? So obviously it's a little different in comparison to like an F-35, for example. Like a lot of the other aerial assets that we have in the American Air Force and the American military have very different defenses in comparison to the A-10. It's designed for aerial cover, right? It's designed to fly low and shoot at shit that you can fucking see. Chatters are stupid. The A-10 is designed to be harder from ground fire. It has titanium bathtub surrounding the pilot. It's designed around ground attack and close air support. Yes, that's why they bring in the A-10s, because when you have to do close air support, you can't use standoff munitions and you can't use aerial bombing campaigns from afar if your troops are a lot closer to the enemy troops, and then you accidentally blow up your own fucking troops. And that's why they use the A-10. It's supposed to fucking fly close to the target and literally see it and shoot at it. Shoot at what it's seeing. So it's designed specifically to withstand some damage from the ground. I mean, it's equally impressive that they took out an F-15, but it's still, I think, significant and impressive that they took out an A-10, especially considering that in the entire Iraq theater, there was only one A-10 that they took out. Like the Iraqi force only took out one A-10. Standoff munitions like Tomahawks, like long-range missiles that they lob from afar, is way more impressive to take out an F-15. I agree. I think it's the most impressive to take out an F-35. Look, any plane can't take much fire, but the reality is that multiple aircraft were hit yesterday. There's a turning point in the air defense situation in Iran. I agree. And it's undeniable. It's undeniable.
Bounty on the head of the second U.S. crew member lost after an F-15E fighter jet was downed over enemy territory. Search and rescue teams working through the night, but the clock is ticking. And with every passing hour, this search becomes more consequential. President Trump stopping short of saying how the U.S. will respond if our airman is captured by Iran. Retired Air Force Brigadier General John Tykert is a former F-15E combat pilot. He joins us now. General, thank you for being here. I want to talk to you a little bit about the F-15E. It's the workhorse of the—
I'm gonna be honest. I think in the upcoming weeks, if the situation continues to go as it has thus far, where Iran, as the underdog here, keeps securing some fairly significant victories like they did yesterday, the guys that they bring on to Fox News are going to be increasingly more panicked. Okay, right now, their job is to cope. Their job is to give you talking points. Their job is to give MAGA talking points, to be like, no, everything is going swimmingly, right? Everything's going great. It's not that significant that an F-15 was taken out. F-15s get dropped all the time. Like, oh, it's whatever, right? I should know. I flew one. I mean, he looks kind of panicked here regardless, but they will become increasingly more panicked, and you will start seeing people closely associated with the administration, or people who are directly in the admin, or even the analysts, start saying, I think we have won our war goals. We have achieved our strategic objectives, and it's time to back away. That is, of course, if Donald Trump doesn't engage in the unthinkable and try to do a panicked ground invasion. Okay? Because that could happen. So far, they keep saying F-15s are old. Yeah, it's cope. Reporting on Iranian strikes inside of Israel and GCC countries is heavily censored, but this Wall Street Journal report gives a glimpse of what is a huge story: the effectiveness and the precision of these missiles. The damage done to the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh by an Iranian drone strike was far worse than publicly admitted, according to a new Wall Street Journal story. The quote from a former CIA got my attention. So Wall Street Journal and Washington Post, John Hudson specifically, has been somehow gaining access to diplomatic cables. Even with their diminished capacity to do reporting with the Washington Post, there's someone that's like feeding them diplomatic cables over and over again, because there's someone out there who's like, dude, this shit sucks. You have to apply pressure. That's just kind of how things go in the background. When you read a story, you have to understand, like, how am I reading this right now? Okay? How am I reading this story right now? What are the ambitions of the people that may or may not have given this information to this outlet? Okay? So understand that the motivation from someone along the process in the State Department is just to go to John Hudson and be like, dude, it's fucked right about this. Okay? Obviously, they're trying to keep a lid on all of this information in order to make it seem like the situation is much better than it actually is. But there are certain aspects of this that are undeniable to even the untrained eye. For example, when you see fucking black smoke coming out of central Tel Aviv, it's a pretty good indication that you haven't deteriorated the Iranian strike capabilities, right? Like, it's obvious. As a matter of fact, it shows you two things. One, we haven't destroyed nearly enough TELs. We haven't destroyed nearly enough launchers. They still have launchers. And we haven't destroyed the missile silos, the ballistic munition depots. And also, last but not least, perhaps most significantly, Iran has been able to successfully deplete the Israeli defenses, from David Sling to the Arrow systems to the Tamir interceptors, also commonly known as the Iron Dome, right? It's clear. You can't lie about what you're seeing. Like, you could say, oh, we did it, we destroyed them, but like, if you feel the impact of a fucking strike in the heart of Tel Aviv, all of a sudden that changes the dynamic. Like, you can't out yap what people can see. And the same thing goes for these bases, right? It was able to produce an indigenously made weapon, fired across hundreds of miles, and put it into the embassy of their top opponent, which means they could have hit anything they wanted in the city, said Bernard Hudson, a former CIA counterterrorism chief with extensive experience in the Persian Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia. There's been a complete blackout on the actual damage done to these places, he said, about U.S. embassies and bases. That feeds suspicions that a lot more damage may have actually happened. A YouTuber invented a way to track fighter jets using cheap cameras and even webcams a couple months ago. During the night, you need infrared or thermal cameras to track them, but you can do it 100 kilometers away. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, ironically enough, as we now know, the Iranian Iranian anti-air defense systems actually rely on the like optical cameras that are commercially available as well to create like an environment, like create a surveillance umbrella without relying on radar systems that the American fighter jets are designed to avoid, right? Designed to be invisible, like the F-35. So they're using readily available commercial technology and perhaps some military tech too to create systems